Sounds like fighting music, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are about 28 minutes away from the fisticuffs beginning to fly. UFC Vegas 91 will lead us into the real main event of the day. KnuckleMania 4 going down in Los Angeles, California. As we welcome you to the People's Pre-Fight Show to get you ready for both of these events. I am Mike Heck, and joining me from the ATL, the man's still without a shower, but he has been showering, so he's not like smelly or disgusting. He has been taking showers, he just isn't able to in his own place right now. And I can understand the troubles of home improvement issues. Jed Meshew, how we doing, my man?
We're doing great. It's Inman Park Festival. I live right near Inman Park in Atlanta, so it's always a big time of year. Vibes are good. Just got done hanging out with a bunch of friends, watching a parade, and now you and I get to hang out. I get to hang out with more friends. I get to hang out with all the beautiful friends at home watching UFC Vegas 91. I think that's the card. And of course, BKFC. And I get to answer their lovely questions. So it's a good day. It's good Saturday.
It is good. And it's good Saturday to answer your questions as well. So put them in the chat. We'll throw them up. Of course, the super chatters, you get to cut in front of everybody. Everyone's waiting in line to get into the People's Pre-Fight Club. But if you just throw a couple shekels into the super chat, you get to cut right through that line, and people are going to be mad at you. But it is what it is. So we'll answer your questions about UFC, BKFC, really whatever you want until the fight starts. So let's go. Our friend Joseph Boza. Could the winner of the Nicolau Perez fight be asked to turn around for the 301 title fight next week? Haven't seen if they have a backup. Don't really know. Maybe. I know Pantoja's asked for it. Not Pantoja. Nicolau has sort of asked for that, or at least told Guilherme Cruz that he would be down for that. But I don't know. It's kind of asking a lot. But what do you think?
I'd say it's very unlikely just because, I mean, one, I don't have the empirical data on this, but I would be very, very certain that by far the most weight misses occur at flyweight. And so to ask, not terribly small flyweights, not huge necessarily, but to ask them to make that cut again, to make a full cut, because you got to hit championship weight as well, get to 125. I just think that seems really, really unlikely. I thought they did have a backup for this fight, but I guess they maybe not.
I heard
Brandon
Royval maybe was considered, but I don't know if that's like officially official. I know from what I understand, there was like talks of maybe that happening, but I don't think that's like etched in stone, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But no, I think they're just gonna, run this clean and cross their fingers and hope nothing happens, because let's also just be honest, right? If something does happen, knock on wood, don't want it to, this is already a pay-per-view event that the UFC has punted. They don't care about this one. So if it ends up being Jose Aldo pay-per-viewing another or main eventing a pay-per-view, they'll be fine with that. It's not going to make a major difference either way at this point in time. So certainly they hope not, but I don't think they need a backup for this. Neither dude ever missed weight to my recollection. They're just going to run this and hope it works out.
Yeah, they'll just add an interim bantamweight title to Jose Aldo, Jonathan Martinez.
That would be sick. Jose Aldo winning his second belt. That would be terrific.
Was not new music from Casey. Casey's just not here. Casey's going to be at BKFC, so give him a few hours to unwind, to relax a little bit. Joseph, speaking of Jose Aldo, Mike, I know you and Conor will talk about it next week in the watch party, but what are the expectations for the return of Jose Aldo? I think that's something we're going to probably talk about all next week, since it's going to be probably the biggest talking point heading into 301. I know even just the mere mention of 301 makes you want to take a nap, Jed, but what are your expectations for the return of Jose Aldo?
My expectations are very minimal, but that is because I do not want to have them, right? I am an enormous Jose Aldo fan. I make no bones about it. When we did the damn episode on Jose Aldo, I was pretty clear. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. Really, him, BJ, and Fedor are kind of the dudes who made me fall in love and stay in love with the sport. And so I want nothing but great things to happen for him. He's one of the very few fighters who competes I get nervous about. I'm not for this one. I probably will have some tingles come fight night just because you always want Jose to do well if you're a guy like me. But the expectation is pretty minimal. You know, he's 37. He has been off for a while. He's coming out of retirement. I know he's done some other stuff and theoretically is still here, but he's past his prime. I would say, though, that I think that this is, on the one hand, it's a bad matchup just because pretty clearly you should just be doing Dominic Cruz. Like, that's the fight to make. And I know that there were some reporting or rumors out there that Cruz turned it down. If so, coward. But, you know, if not, then whatever. But like, this is fun. This is a matchup that Jose can win. I'm not saying he will, but kind of the things Martinez does the best, Jose's defense is particularly well suited to combat. And, you know, we're still talking about, for my money, the greatest defensive fighter in the history of the sport. And, you know, one of the best strikers in the history of the sport. Again, well past his prime, but a guy who still has a lot of ability. And so kind of my expectations are none because I want to go in and be pleasantly surprised if something good happens. But objectively, I think your expectations can be to be competitive. He is not coming out here to get rolled over. I don't think that is what will happen. I don't think you can expect him to win. You can hope he can win, but you should certainly expect him to be a competitive entity, if not a winning entity in next weekend.
Yeah, I'm picking Jose Aldo to win. I'm not saying Jonathan, like, I won't be stunned if Jonathan beats him, but I just think Jonathan's style lines up perfectly with what Jose Aldo does very, very well. So I think, you know, Jose Aldo fights fellow leg kickers, even those who are very good at them. He usually out leg kicks them or finds a way to counter them or make them less effective.
He's exceptionally good at checking leg kicks.
So good. So good. And Jonathan
He's
Martinez,
the only dude in mixed martial arts who checks the calf kick. It's Jose Aldo functionally. Like,
yeah,
he's just really, really good at it.
And then he'll ride off into the sunset as a free agent coming off of a decision win. And there you go. And the choices will be aplenty for what he can do next. Some super chats coming in.
Also, just throwing it out here, Mike, because we were supposed to have it up for Sunday. Technical difficulties arose. We basically filmed almost the entire episode of this week's This Is Cinema. And then it got corrupted and we lost it. So we're reshooting on This Is Cinema. And the episode is on the Jose Aldo biopic that was in Brazil. So that'll be dropping, I think, on Monday, maybe on Tuesday. Check it out.
There you go. Alexi says your hot takes give Alexi a reason to exist, Jed. How about that?
Alexi, I love you. I hope that my takes don't give you a reason to exist because you don't need them. You have more than enough reason to exist just being you. But if they add a little fuel to the fire and make your life burn brighter, I'm happy for it.
Last stand, thank you. Thoughts on the commentary trio for the UFC card of Gooden, DC, and Dominic Cruz. So you got JG and
is that this weekend?
DC's here. That's coming up.
So it's
first time this trio has ever worked together.
I'm gonna hate it. Commentary teams are very to taste. I have argued, and I'd stand by it. I think one of my better takes is every UFC commentator should have a 3-year shelf life. I might make an exception for the play-by-play guys, John Anik Gooden, just because 1, they are professional commentators, and 2, play-by-play is a bit different. I never liked DC. I know that people love DC. I've never enjoyed him in the role, and I actively dislike Dominic Cruz as a commentator. If you like him, that's fine. You know, some people on staff are very big Dominic Cruz supporters. He actively makes watching fights worse for me, and DC is starting to trend in that way for very different reasons, mind you. But I mean, 2/3 of this booth, I do not wish to be in my earballs, and so I won't like it. But if you like it, that's okay.
Yeah, John Gooden's great. It's good to see him getting a few more reps. We haven't seen Fitzgerald on a broadcast in a little while. I know he's still with them, so I don't know. But it's nice. I think John's very good. We'll see how he sort of tries to rein in the
both the Johns are very good. Anik and Gooden are very good. Fitzgerald is good. All the play-by-play people are very good at what they do. Felder, I would say, is the best color person at this point. But I
Yep.
also honestly
And
think that
Sanko.
a lot of that, and Senko, I think a lot of it realistically is, I just think you have a shelf life as a color commentator before you start to just become a caricature of yourself and you start to just kind of lean into the same stuff over and over again. Brian Stan probably would have had that happen, but he left the sport before it became. DC is absolutely a caricature of himself. And again, I dislike Dominic Cruz from the very moment he started, and I will never enjoy his brand of commentary.
A big shout out to John Anik playing in the Patrick Mahomes celebrity golf tournament today in Las Vegas, teaming up with Justin
Nice.
Gaethje. Teaming up with Justin Gaethje in that
Nice.
tournament. So
little swing rounds, could
dude,
be.
that would have been incredible. As soon as I found that out today, I was like, God, that would have been amazing to be a part of that team. But we live and learn. Maybe we'll have a swing rounds with John Anik before we get.
They don't want that smoke from us. Like they don't. I heard Anik and Gaethje kind of talking, and they were like, "Yeah, we're scared. We're scared of the Mike and Jed combo. That scramble duo would just kind of. I mean, we would be getting golf Max Holloway is what we'd be getting. It'd be tough for us. So they didn't want the smoke.
Understood. Sleeto, thoughts on Diego Lopez and Arman Sarukian's purses being withheld? So that's not like all in all done. There's obviously being talked about. Have you heard about this, Jed?
I have. They're not holding it. They're just going to have a meeting and say, "Don't you do that again," and it'll be fine. It's really, really stupid. But newsflash, guys: athletic commissions are all the dumbest things imaginable. The only one that's even marginally worth its salt is the CSAC. It's California, and they are actually at least trying ostensibly to do the role. The NSAC is a garbage institution that is garbage. It's just there's no redeeming qualities to it. And it's for any of you out there who are have an HOA, think of athletic commissions as HOAs, just horrible organizations that benefit you very marginally and are enormous pains in the asses. And really what they are is a great opportunity for the worst people you interact with on a daily basis to get puffed up on a power trip, because no one wants to work for no one wants the athletic commission jobs. And so it only attracts people who are just shouldn't have power. And they do things like this, or ban Nick Diaz for life because he smoked pot. It's just garbage. But ultimately they'll get paid. This is just,
It's maybe not
how things go.
The full purse.
Yeah, they'll probably get something deducted, but they'll have a hearing. They'll be like, "We're sorry. That dude accosted me. I hit him. I jumped over the fence. I asked Dana if I could." He's like, "Yeah, I could hop on over or whatever." I would be pretty shocked if Lopez doesn't get all his money. Arman's probably going to get docked some. He hit a fan. And that's honestly fair. Like, I don't really give a shit what you said to him. Like, what he said to you. You can't really hit people. Like, you can't malice at the palaces. It's not how the game works.
But he got hit first, did he not?
I don't actually know that he got hit. When he said it, when he was on the MMA hour and did his thing, he said that the dude came up and said something to him. I do not know if he got hit, but when he recounted, he's like, he said he's going to kill me or whatever. And I didn't see him get hit in the video. I'm not saying he didn't. He could have. Either way, it's still, you just can't hit fans. You just can't do it. Like, malice at the palace can't exist. And so he's going to get something docked, and honestly should. Diego Lopez is ridiculous. It's an outlandish thing to do. And they're ultimately should be like, "Don't jump over the fence again," and give him all his money.
Yeah. I mean, if the fan just said something to him and Arman hit him, that's not good.
Super can't do it. Still don't think you can do it if the fan hits you either, but you super can't do it if he just talks shit to you.
Yeah, he could get dinged a whole bunch if that's the case. Last super chat for at least right now. Honestly, how much do you care about Conor versus Chandler?
Almost not at all, and also a great amount. So the two halves care, right? Personally, I could not care less about this fight. It means nothing to me. Like, I have no intrinsic value to this fight outside of the fact that it will send ripple effects through the rest of the sport. Like, it will have impact. And it'll be fine. Like, both of them are exciting fighters. It will be fun. I'm not here to tell you don't like this. It's just, it's not the particularly compelling fight to me. At the same time, this is going to be an enormous fight. It's going to be the biggest fight of the year. It's going to be bigger than 300 because Conor's fighting. And that is always worth something. And we haven't had that in so long. It will be fun to have a Conor McGregor fight build up, a fight week. Like, is he the best fighter in the world? No, but in any industry, it is fun when what you are doing means more. And that is what it will be with this fight. More people that I don't know or that I know outside of the space will come up to me and be like, hey, like what's going on this weekend? I will get more texts from friends I haven't heard from in a while, being like, yo, what's the deal here? How's this going to go? And that adds a level of excitement as you get closer that makes you care more, because when more people care about stuff, it just has a mob mentality effect. And so right now I don't care much, but as this gets closer, I'm certain that it's going to be something I'm more interested in.
Yeah, dude. By the time we get to the fight, like, we're gonna be all in on it. Like, it's just what happens, and we just haven't had this in so long. I mean, who knows? Like, Michael Chandler goes out and just lamps Conor McGregor in 90 seconds. This could be the last time we experience this, or one of the last times we experience this. So,
or if Conor goes and blows Michael Chandler's doors off, and then suddenly it's all right, Conor's fighting for a belt again. And what do you say it all the time, Mike? Give people a chance to miss you. Conor gave people probably too much of an opportunity to miss him, but it still is going to hit now that he is back. Like, it is still going to be a thing, come this summer.
100%. Since Ryan Spann already lost to name brand Anthony Smith, what are the chances of beating store brand Anthony Smith today, Jed?
I don't know that Anthony Smith currently is name brand Anthony Smith. It's my first qualm with this. Anthony Smith is old and bad now. Maybe not bad now, but he's not anywhere near the fighter he once was, because he's 35 and just lost a bunch and kind of there. I don't remember who I picked in this fight. Let me pull up my predictions. Ryan Spann, is the favorite, and I guess should be, and probably should win to this version of Anthony Smith, but he also lost to the other version of Anthony Smith, because sometimes Ryan Spann will just lose some fights that he probably shouldn't lose. And Guskov is the kind of dude who's going to bring a fight to you one way or another, which I think plays better into Spann's hands, right? Because Anthony Smith is cagey enough to kind of not just say, F it, chuck him. But, Guskov probably will do that. So if he doesn't, he's going to get, if he doesn't get, he's going to get got. So I think Ryan Spann is going to win, but it's like it's a compelling fight on its own merits. It's not a compelling fight because who really cares about either of these men? But like, if you're just who's going to win, it is an interesting matchup.
Yeah. And I think kind of where Ryan Spann is right now, like, what an interesting road Ryan Spann's UFC career has been. He comes in, we're like, okay, this guy's gonna be really good. And then he turns out that it's like, yeah, he's kind of okay. He wins some and loses some. And then he goes out and
had a big streak to start until he ran into Johnny Walker.
Yeah. And then it was the Dominic Reyes fight where he just crushed him, and he said on the microphone, look, guys, I really never tried. I never really trained.
Sold me. And then, I was so in.
Yeah, a lot of people were sold.
Hasn't won since.
And then has not won since. So
I remember getting on that post show and being like, guys, if Ryan Spann is now taking MMA seriously and isn't just showing up as an athlete who hits hard, they're cooked. Light heavyweight is done, because he's an athlete. Like, oh my God. And then he hasn't won since. And I hate him. That's a small story. He sold me a bill of goods. I was sold Wolf tickets. I bought them. I bought so many of the Wolf tickets, and it was poop soup. This is what I bought. So it's trash.
Poop soup. Thank you, Alexi. Should the UFC try to book a UFC-Mania type card every year? Follow-up pay-per-view is trash, a few trash Apex cards, and then go all out for one big show a year. A UFC 300-ish type show. And I know what your answer is going to be, Jed, and it's absolutely, we've talked about this quite a bit, but if you want to sort of double 100%. Down on this, yeah, for sure.
So for a while they were. Like, the whole point of International Fight Week was that. Do you remember when they did 3 events on International Fight Week? They did like a Wednesday fight night, a Friday, and then the Saturday big event. Like, they had built International Fight Week to be a week of stuff. We had a fight card Wednesday, Hall of Fame Thursday, fight card Friday, pay-per-view event Saturday, and it was this big thing. That's probably a little too much, right? 3 fight cards in 1 week is a lot. You don't need that. But doing, a secondary, an Apex card on Friday night before Saturday, I wouldn't hate that idea. Mostly though, I think International Fight Week should be this yearly glorious celebration of the sport in the way that Mania is, and that you have the Hall of Fame on Thursday, and that's great. And then on Saturday, you should have a monster pay-per-view, a fully loaded 300-esque 2 title fights and great fights all the way down. Nothing that doesn't have a wiki page on it. Like, that should absolutely be the goal, because it is better for business to do that. And it's better for the fans to have a major tentpole event. I don't think they're going to do that, but I'm hopeful. I am hopeful that being in the same room with the WWE and TKO, there will just be osmosis shifting of, hey man, look at how big they do WrestleMania. We should do something like that a little more. Look at the production and the pageantry and how much the fans gravitate towards that. We should kind of lean into this aspect a little more. There's a lot that they can take from the WWE and working with them. And I hope it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be next year, but I hope that as there is more integration over that, and as Ari Emanuel, who's getting $100 million a year at this point, watches the 2 products, he can be like, hey, one of these is just a better show. Straight up. One of them is, these are 2 very different products. One of them is a better show. We should get show B to be a little closer to show A in terms of what it's doing production-wise. So I'm hopeful that eventually we'll get back to there, but 1,000,000%, yes, do that.
WWE production has been fucking incredible since they had a long time
WrestleMania banged, and I don't care about WrestleMania.
Yeah, everything about it was awesome. Like Raw, SmackDown, like they're shot differently. They just feel cool. Like everything about it is awesome. And what WWE
fireworks
is also
are dope.
doing,
fireworks. They are dope.
Fireworks are dope. And what WWE is also doing is they're building these sort of packages around individual performers that are very similar to like fight buildups for the UFC. Like it's almost like reverse. So not to really get too far off track here, but Sami Zayn wins the Intercontinental title. He's about to make this return to Montreal, his hometown, on Raw. And they put this beautiful promo package of, him battling through getting to the unstoppable champion and then everything he went through in the match to winning it. Like, it just felt like,
did they not do that before?
Like, not to that degree. It just felt like, oh, this is a pro wrestling promo. What they're doing now is that it has a combat sports fight feel to them, like in a different way. It's very UFC-esque. Like, they're dipping into those ideas and doing them in different ways. So I hope the UFC will do the same, because 300 freaking rocked. Like, everything about it rocked. It was so good.
The 300 rocked, and I remember we talked about this on Slack, like the whole thing. I watched WrestleMania because you guys told me to. I didn't watch all of it, and I didn't watch Friday, whatever the first day is. The first day Saturday, the first day Friday. I watched one of the things on the first day because I don't remember what I watched, and then I was like, well, I have to tune in because I watched the MMA hour and we did the whole thing, and I was like, okay, well, let's see if he's going to finish the story. And the wrestling still doesn't hit for me. I don't know why. Like, I can appreciate that it's very athletic or whatever, but it just doesn't land as well, and I have some issues with that. Well, as I was watching, I was just like, man, I don't know what these people are functionally, but they're coming out in gigantic spangly colored costumes with a pyrotechnic display and large music and graphics. And they get like a bunch of time in the ring to jump on all the corners and get everyone pumped. It's like, this is showmanship. I don't need to know, like, at a very base level, I don't need to know shit about the story they are telling to be enthralled by what is happening, because at our very baseline, we're all infants. We are all monkeys who like shiny objects. And it was a big, grand, shiny object. And I was like, this is kick-ass. Hell yeah. Like, I can't believe the UFC isn't going to do any of this for 300 for their major event. And then they do some of it. And we were so over the moon for them doing little baby touches, like Gladiator Man and stuff. Like, could you imagine if they actually, instead of just giving us like a drag on the cigarette, they just mainlined us with like, all right, here's a Pride style intro with pyro for Conor's return. We would lose our minds. And anytime you can have a fan base lose their mind, that's good for business. That is just good for business. And I like I said, I'm hopeful we'll get back there or get there at some point in the near future.
Set up a cool stage for that one event every year. Like, just blow it up. Go to a big you're gonna make so much money. Go to a stadium. Go to
and you can just,
it doesn't even have to be Jerry World. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can just own it because, like, I know WrestleMania is a road show. They go different locations every year and that works, but it can just be like every year, the third weekend of June or the, whatever in Las Vegas, it is International Fight Week. Be there, like, just own a whole weekend and a whole thing. And people, if you build it, they will come. I know people come anyway, but it's just like, just have some pride, like, want to do this because you want to, and that will carry over and trickle down to the rest of everything for you. So like I said, I hope it's going to happen. I'm cautiously optimistic that they're just in the same room enough now that there will be some crossover there.
And every promotion should have an event within a 30-mile radius of wherever the UFC's event is being held.
Yeah.
Because that's 100%. What also makes it special. That's how you introduce yourself to MMA fans or UFC fans. You hold an event on a Tuesday. For people come on Tuesday, what do we do Tuesday? Because the UFC's not, like, they have media day Wednesday, but they're not doing anything till Thursday. Like, get a head start. If you're PFL, like, you should definitely be there on a Tuesday. If you're LFA, you should be there on Wednesday. Invictus should have a card. Like, do multiple cards. Like, have one at 6 p.m. local time and then do one at 9 p.m. local time. Like, that's how it should be. Like, that whole week should be like an MMA fan's, like, dream come true, where every day there's something going on.
And maybe it will be. Maybe this year with Conor back, it will get back on track, because, we were kind of doing that, and then COVID sort of took things off the wheels. But it hadn't been COVID in a long time. And for as much as the UFC puffed up their chest and boasted about, look, we kept working through COVID, and, they did. I'm not taking that away from them. Their business did fundamentally change at COVID, and they have not changed back. The rest of the world has gotten back on track, and the UFC is just doing COVID stuff without it being around. They're doing the same stuff they were doing during COVID. And it's like, we're past it. Let's get back to the big grand stuff.
Yeah. Live Dogs MMA having only 2 commentators is the best. Dude, look at this. $49.99 super chat. Shout out to AUABC.
2 favorites and 2 dogs on the UFC tonight. Okay. I didn't actually do any gambling this week for the first time in a long time. There was just so much other stuff I was working on this week, and I just didn't want to dive in. So take this with a deep grain of salt, ABC.
I have 2. So I have 2 underdog bets.
Oh,
like,
tell me your
just because I need this card to, like, spice up a little bit. What was it? Was it store brand Anthony Smith, as one of our people called it? Because I do think Ryan Spann's good. Yeah. Great value is plus 160. That's where I got him at. And I also got Austin Hubbard at like plus 170. And I kind of think he's going to win that fight. So I'm going to go with that against Michael Figlak. I have no confidence in either of these bets, and none of these are like of any significant value. But just to live a little bit during this event where there's no stakes, I'd rather place the stakes upon myself in some way.
So if I was picking underdogs, I actually think Guskov is a good one. Just because Ryan Spann can absolutely just turf himself. I don't think Alex Perez is a bad underdog, but it's always concerning to bet on a dude who's lost 3 in a row. But I don't think he's a bad underdog. You can do the AK Lee, Marnik Man, Ryan Spann parlay, which he and I talked about yesterday. But I think Ketlin Souza is probably a pretty good favorite. I think she is very, very likely to get there. And then if I was just picking another favorite.
I like Nicolau. I like Nicolau.
I
like Ketlin Souza, even though it's a tough division to bet
Ketlin
on.
Souza is the one I have. The other one, I mean, I like
Oh,
James
big on.
Longcop.
I think Dontel Mayes-Cal Machado might be the biggest guarantee for a heavyweight over we've seen
I mean,
all year.
it's a heavyweight over, but it's minus 250 for over 2.5, so it's tough scenes.
It's minus 180 right now on DraftKings
for Dontel Mayes. Oh, yes.
Correct.
Wow. Oh, I was looking at Hubbard Figlack. Sorry. For over 2.5. The other favorite, I'll go Janata Denise, just because Austin Lane's bad. Denise is not like amazing, and he's making his debut, but Austin Lane is not good. So it's more price than you should pay for it. But if I had to pick another one, I'd do that. That's the thing. It's a lot. This is a weird card, man. That's why it's only 2.5 farts.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying they like the hoop in the background. Yes.
It's a baller.
My kids room right now. We played horse earlier. I put the boots to him in horse. I'm so proud. Terrence, last super chat that we'll get to our predictions. I asked Luke Thomas this, and he said yes, maybe ideally. So what I'd ask you all, is the road to greatness taking easier fights like boxers, i.e. Sean O'Malley and Khabib, before he got to the UFC? Do we guard prospects?
It's the easiest answer in the world. Yes. It's so unbelievably yes. And here's the thing, guys, there's nothing new in the world, right? Like there just aren't. All ideas are old ideas. They're being rehashed or rebranded. MMA is 100 years behind boxing. That's just it. We are 100 years behind them. And you know what they did? Like, you know how boxing started? Oh, we'll just fight all the best dudes. And then over time, you just figure, well, that's actually not the best way to optimize star power. And it's really not the best way to develop anyone. If the NFL, I promise you this is true. If you could be an NFL team and have a quarterback, you draft the Atlanta Falcons just drafted Michael Penix as a terrible draft pick, whatever. But if they could spend a year having him in their system play a bunch of bums, just like a G League team, and they would do it because you will develop better that way. Getting live reps against competition, but not good competition, is how you develop style. It is how you learn how to fight functionally outside of gym practice. And so the UFC's entire business plan is we're just going to throw prospects to the wood chipper, and that will work. That is the Wyatt Earp theory. If you do enough of them, it's Wild Bill. Wild Bill theory. The law of large numbers, if you throw enough shotgun shells out there, one of them will hit the bird. You will occasionally get a John Jones, but in the process of looking for a John Jones, you will chew up 100 other guys who could have been something, who could have been the next, guy out there or whatever. But it's just not like, look what happened to Mirsad Bektic, who had all the potential to be something, and then he didn't. It is a tale as old as time. The reason boxing does this is because they understand that it's not great to take a dude and immediately fire him into the deep end of the pool and sink or swim. Sure, if they swim, great. If they sink, well, you have a dead body in your pool now. So it is 1,000,000 times better to guard and protect prospects. It's just not going to happen for the foreseeable future. It certainly isn't going to happen in the UFC because the way that they do their business. But like, it just makes a better product for you, the fan, too. Like, I'm just telling you honestly, like, you would enjoy it a lot more because every time there's a 13-0 prospect coming out of Dagestan, we're like, ooh, that guy's probably decent. Let's see how he turns out. Like, it is more fun to have gaudy records attached to dudes. And the way you get that is by protecting fighters and not just bashing your action figures together until they break into pieces.
There you go. Man, Magician Mortal is so mad that we're not talking about BKFC enough. Listen, man, that's all we've been talking about this week. We're not like, we answer the questions that are asked.
I will talk happily about whatever. If you want to ask a question, fire one up, bud. I'm responding to the prompts given to me, man.
Yes.
Also, like, let's
Super
be honest. Do you care about talking?
Question.
Do you care about talking about the UFC this weekend? Does anyone?
No, we're talking about.
I am a bit surprised.
There's a fight happening
BKFC
right
questions. Oh, is it? Is there one on?
Mahashata and
The Hashate fight has started. I guess I'll pull
Gabriel
that up.
Benitez.
Woot.
Dude, guys, what did you ask? Just why
He
we're not
asked
talking about
about
BKFC?
you.
What did you ask about me?
I don't know. He
You're
said he asked
spamming a whole
about
bunch
you.
of other shit. Let's go.
Buddy,
Ask
you
me.
are no.
Ask me.
What
We'll pull it up real quick. Come on. Bring it.
You're no Cross. Was Cross his
There we
name?
go. Mike Perry's momentum, is it gone if he loses? No.
No. It's like Mike
There you
Perry
go.
is sort of beyond
It's the
wins and
face.
losses at this
Exactly.
point. I mean, it will not be ideal if he loses to Thiago Alves, but I do think it's in a situation where people still are captivated by him. People will still tune in to Mike Perry. This will just be maybe actually Thiago Alves gets a little bit of a rub. Maybe we can go there. But Mike Perry loses, one, the fight's going to be fun, so it won't really matter. And two, all right, he loses. In 2 months, BKFC announces Mike Perry versus Jorge Masvidal, Mike Perry versus Darren Till. People are still going to be there. He is a star, and stardom loses momentum hard. So no, he loses. It'd be better if he doesn't, but stardom fades slow.
He's fine. He's fine. The dude ain't gonna quit. He ain't gonna stop fighting. If Thiago wins, it's because Thiago's just the better bare knuckle boxer. It's gonna be very tough to beat Mike Perry in a bare knuckle fight. But honestly, of all the matchups he's had, Thiago Alves may not be the biggest name, but I do think this is the toughest fight for him. Honestly, I think this is his toughest fight because Thiago's done this before. He knows what it's like. He's been in there with real BKFC dudes. Like Yuli Diaz is a fucking dog, man. That's a dude. So
I just popped up the ESPN to watch it, and I had to click over twice on the top bar to get to the UFC. So we've got the draft, we've got Zurich Classic of New Orleans, Atletico Madrid, La Liga. We've got multiple Zurich feeds. So we've got 4 Zurich feeds. Florida versus Arkansas baseball, and then the UFC prelims.
Yeah,
even
so
ESPN knows this one's garbage.
Yeah, on my phone, I actually had to search UFC to find it.
Yeah,
that's the only way I could find it.
You gotta click over several ticks,
and then find the one that says ESPN Plus in English, and then you get it. Because if you did I clicked on the ESPN News one, and they made me try to log into a cable provider, and then I figured it out. So there you go. Real quick,
yes.
Real quick, let's go through the main card predictions for this wonderful card. Tim Means versus Uros Medic, Jed Meshew. Uros Medic, big favorite, -265. Come back on Tim Means +215. Who you got?
Going Medic by decision. I think Tim Means is going to be tough enough to hang in there, but he's like 41, 40. He's in his 40s, so there's just too much. Let's get Tim Means into BKFC. Let's let the Dirty Bird do the thing over there. And Uros Medic can kind of keep just trucking along.
I think Medic's going to finish him in the first round. I just think, I don't know. He's fine. He's found something, and I think it's a good time. I think it's a good time for him to fight a guy like Tim.
On this the weekend where the Atlanta Dirty Birds have shook up the NFL. You think Tim Means is going to go down without a fight? I don't buy it. He's going to be thinking about Michael Penix.
Oh, he's going to get after it.
And Ruka Okafor. I don't know how to say that man's name. It's impossible. There's a lot of ors. And he's going to think about what exactly the Falcons front office is doing to desecrate the name, the Dirty Bird. And he's going to put that name on his back. He's going to rise it up.
I think we have a possible. It was at the end of the first round. Jonathan Pierce -142 to come back on David Onama +120. Of course, David Onama missed weight. I got JSP. I think I'm going with him with a late submission. I don't know. That fight could go either way, though.
I'm going JSP by decision. I'm just taking a lot of decisions, which is a thing I tend to do on cards like this. Just a bit of a hangover. Onama missing weight. I don't remember historically missing weight is actually like a benefit, but I don't think it's been doing as well this year. But yeah, I'll take JSP by decision.
Heavyweights, Austin Lane +260 underdog taking on Janata Denise -325 favorite. This fight probably ain't going very long, is it?
I have Denise round 1 KO. Won't be shocked. Again, Denise is not good. He's like the worst of the Glory kickboxers to come over, but Austin Lane is also not good. So when in doubt, Glory kickboxing is the third strongest mixed martial arts style behind being a hoss. And what was the second one? I don't remember.
Just
what
throwing really, really hard. Just throwing.
No, that's a
really
terrific.
hard.
That's a terrific tactical decision. Being a hoss is number one, and then I don't remember what I had as number two.
Just
right
being
now.
a great athlete.
No, that's not it, because it's something more recent. I'll think of it later. But Glory kickboxing is the third greatest mixed martial arts style right now.
What many consider to be sort of the people's main event of this card. Ranked fighters getting after in the featured bout. We have Karine Silva, the -185 favorite. She takes on Ariane Lipski. I believe she is now Ariane De Silva. No more Queen of Violence, now just the Queen. Silva, the big favorite, -185. Come back on De Silva. FKA Lipski +154. I think Karine Silva is going to win this fight. I respect what Ariane Lipski / De Silva has done, but I think Karine Silva is the real deal.
I agree. I have by decision because I'm just picking decisions for most women's fights based on the statistics of last year and frankly this year thus far. But yeah, I agree. Karine Silva all day.
Will you be picking a decision for Ryan Spann, the -192 favorite against Bogdan Guskov, coming back at +160?
I'm taking Guskov. I'm taking Guskov by finish in the third round because YOLO, why not? You know,
third round. Wow.
You know, they're gonna get silly with it. It'll be fine.
I have a bet on Bogdan Guskov at +160. I will tell you what, if this fight gets out of round one, I'm live betting the shit out of Ryan Spann if he's plus money in any way, shape, or form. Because this is when Guskov sort of falls off the cliff. So
not this time. This time he's ready.
Oh, this is it? This is it? All right.
He's prepared. He is ready to go.
I love it. Main event. Matheus Nicolau, -175 favorite to come back on Alex Press, +145. This is a Nicolau decision for me. There you go.
Main event, Nicolau submission round 3. I do think he's going. I also remembered what the other strongest MMA style is. Can't believe I forgot. Haas is the strongest style. Glory is the third strongest style. The wonderful Yuri Prochazka reminded me of the actual second.
Oh, yes.
It's being a goddamn crazy person. So, you know, if you can have one of the three, it's great. If you can have all three of the three, you're probably unbeatable. So yeah, but Denise isn't a goddamn crazy person. He's not really a hoss either, but he is a Glory kickboxer, which is very strong style. There
you go. All right, everybody, we're done. We'll be back after the UFC card. We'll react to it probably relatively quickly because we're going to get right.
The chat is just people going being crazy.
Yes,
yeah, being crazy. You guys nailed it.
There you go. You guys are the best.
You guys are on point. I love it.
On point. So we have this event, and of course, KnuckleMania, which is going to be just way better. If we're being honest, it'll be way more fun. Prelims 9 p.m. Eastern. You can watch prelims on MMAfighting.com live. So get excited for that. It's a great website. And then the main card kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern on, I think you can watch it on the BKFC YouTube channel. You can order it for $29.99. It's also on what used to be Fight TV, but now it's Triller TV, I guess it's called. So, but still $30 for this card.
So it's called Triller, but it's also still at fighttv.com or whatever. It's
very strange. I know it's called like Triller, but
yeah, it's weird.
Fight by Triller, or I don't know.
It's weird stuff
what they're trying to do, but it's gonna be great. And guys, you're getting if you buy, just buy it. $30. It's gonna be way better.
Support the content you love. But if you don't,
Mike Perry,
tune in to MMAfighting.com. We're gonna have you covered with all the best stuff from it. So if $30 is too much for you, come on down. We got you covered. And while you're there, you can see if anything happens interesting in the UFC fights. We'll also have that covered for you as well.
Yeah. If it's a beautiful day where you're at, get outside and enjoy the beautiful day. And like Jed said, stick with MMAfighting.com. You could just skip this card if you want, but come back for KnuckleMania, because I think you'll be very happy with that. So thank you all very much. We'll see you after the UFC event. We might even see you after the BKFC event, depending on how that goes. So for Jed, I am Mike. Enjoy the fights, everybody.
Love y'all.